Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is a talk video, and this one might be a little bit premature because we don't actually have the official post for SM-33, and they did say it was coming. But SM-33's kit and gear is live in game, and I've got a nice streak of daily videos going that I'd like to continue. So we're moving ahead, but that does mean no insights, no tips, and there's a chance we might see some changes to the kit when it does get an official release. SM-33 arrives as a dark-side scoundrel pirate droid attacker and the first new entry in this new pirate faction and the start of a new era. In lieu of our usual insights portion, I do want to highlight the theme in his mechanics, which does echo his appearance in Skeleton Crew, where he will defend his captain. And as such, SM-33 gets bonus effects when attacking the first enemy to damage the leader. Our basic ability, Rattling Uppercut. Physical damage to the target and inflict stagger. Now stagger is a very powerful debuff because once triggered it's in effect a full turn meter removal. And to have this on a basic, that's something pretty huge. That alone would be big, but then we have, if the leader is pirate, then prevent bonus protection on the target enemy for 3 turns. And SM-33 gains defense penetration up for 2 turns. Now bonus protection is a major mechanic within the game. It's very powerful and has been very popular on recent kits. So this gives us a strong weapon against it. And again, this is a basic ability. Now we get into those thematic portions of the kit. If targeting the first active enemy that damaged the pirate leader, remove 100% turn meter and inflict ability block and daze. So this upgrades it from stagger. Now we don't need to have a secondary attack to remove that turn meter. We're just removing it. And on top of that, we're getting additional control with that ability block and that daze, preventing counters and assists. And it gives us a major incentive to make sure that we are targeting that first active enemy that damaged the leader, because it's going to help us control the flow of the encounter. Our first special, Limb from Limb. This is a cooldown of 3. Deal physical damage to the target 6 times. This attack has plus 1000% health steal and deals 20% more damage for each 20% health that SM-33 is missing. So 2 big things already. 1, this special in practice gives us a full heal, and the more health he needs, the more damage he's going to be doing. And next, if targeting the first active enemy that damaged the allied pirate leader, SM-33 deals 50% more damage and gains tenacity up. And this is a really big attack boost. Should be a tough ability and we should use it when we can on that target. This tells me though that this squad is not going to have a way to deal with taunts. At least not an effective way. There might be a buff immunity or a shock, but I think one of the ways that we're going to be countering it might be through teams that have tanks. And these are the little clues that I'm looking for as I analyze a kit. The Omicron portion, we get a Territory War Ami. If this attack defeats an enemy, they can't be revived. For each instance of damage done from this ability while SM-33 has 100% health, he gains 20% bonus protection. So this is the main mechanic, and the point of him dealing 6 instances of damage. The first attack, that is going to heal SM-33 fully, which leaves 5 more instances of damage to add bonus protection, which would give him 100% bonus protection. If targeting the first active enemy that damaged the pirate leader, reduce their max protection by 50% for the rest of the encounter and reduce the cooldown of this ability by 1. That cooldown reduction is really nice because it means we can use this ability more often and thus reduce that max protection each time we attack this character. But for the moment, we don't know anything about the pirate squad upon SM-33's release, so we can't really value this Ami. By the time he is unlocked, this may be a good Ami, but what I am wary of for the moment is the protection reduction is only on a single target, and once that character is eliminated from the field, this Ami is only giving survivability mechanics, which while valuable and will definitely be annoying, has vulnerabilities. Our second special, Forearm Bucklers. This is a cooldown of 3. Dispel all buffs and deal physical damage to the target enemy and inflict buff immunity and burning on the target for 2 turns. Now that buff immunity may be critical, as we were saying with the first special, to being able to attack that key target, that enemy who first attacked the leader. Those characters are usually pretty fast, they might be an attacker, and they might be protected by a taunt, so using Forearm Bucklers early is going to be pretty important to making sure that we can use the basic up against who we want, the first special up against who we want. SM-33 recovers 50% health and protection, gains defense up, and 3 stacks of heat, stacking up to a max of 40 until the end of the counter, and 25% bonus protection. Now, survivability is a key feature. He's going to be a very recoverable attacker, but he may not be very resilient. He'll be able to get to full health quick, but healing immunity may mess him up because it can shut down the mechanics that we are seeing in these special abilities. And it would also speak to his appearance with Skeleton Crew, where he was dangerous, but he could be taken down, was taken down in a number of episodes. At 5 heat stacks, inflict 5 damage over time stacks on the target and instead inflict burning onto the target enemy for 3 turns. At 10 plus stacks of heat, SM-33's damage over time can't be avoided. Now, these are mechanics that I think might get built on in the future, because without the Ami, there's limited mechanics that are really just about the damage over time and the burning, but it's not an excessive amount. So within a Grand Arena context, this doesn't really feel like too special of an ability. But I do expect larger squad mechanics to unlock this and for it to make a little bit more sense later. But for our Territory War Omicron, this gets pretty powerful. Self-cleanses all debuffs and instead gains crit avoidance up and defense up for 3 turns, and undispellable. All pirate allies gain 25% bonus protection. That's pretty huge. And if targeting the first active enemy to damage the pirate leader, SM-33 gains 10 stacks of heat until the encounter end and inflicts healing immunity for 2 turns on the target enemy. Undispellable, unresistible. So we see a huge boost to the heat mechanics, and this one is much more powerful because we're getting more effects at higher stacks of heat. At 20 plus heat stacks, instead inflict 20 stacks of damage over time, and at 40 plus heat stacks, instead inflict 40 stacks of damage over time, and undispellable and unresistible. So that's pretty intense, and definitely something to consider if you consider Territory War Amis, because getting 40 stacks of damage over time is pretty ridiculous. This might be a situation where you're going to need characters that are irresistible to max health damage in order to be able to survive all of these dot mechanics. Our unique ability, First Mate of the Onyx Cinder, SM-33 gains 10% max health and offense for each other scoundrel ally doubled if also a pirate. So if they have both conditions, we're looking at upwards of 80% additional max health and offense. At each encounter start, SM-33 gains defense up 2 turns, undispellable or preventable. So he's going to be able to take some extra damage early on to give him an opportunity to do some of his other mechanics. And whenever an enemy targets the pirate leader, SM-33 gains 15% turn meter and 10% critical damage stacking. So now a mechanic whereby attacking that pirate leader, you're creating an opportunity for SM-33 to take a turn sooner and start doing more damage. So there's a downside or additional downsides into attacking that target. And because of that, I'll be pretty surprised if the pirate leader isn't a taunting tank who's forcing those attacks in that direction, boosting up what SM-33 does. While SM-33 has defense up, he can't be instantly defeated and receives 30% less damage when targeted by an enemy. So a couple things. We know at the start of the encounter for 2 turns, SM-33 cannot be instantly defeated. And if he does have defense up, he's taking less damage when you're attacking him, but he could be vulnerable to AoE damage. That's not going to have that 30% less reduction. In these next portions, after using forearm bucklers, the second special, SM-33 gains 2 heat stacks, which stack to a max of 40 at the start of his turn and when receiving damage for the rest of the encounter. And the first time SM-33 is damaged in battle, he gains a bonus turn and the cooldown of forearm bucklers is reset. So clearly the first turn ability is forearm bucklers. It'll trigger all of the heat mechanics, which we want to get going as early as possible. If you can attack first, or if SM-33 can attack first, it'll trigger the heat mechanic. Then after your hit, he'll get that bonus turn, which will allow us to just supercharge how much heat he's getting, because he's going to be getting 3 from the first use of forearm bucklers. He gets hit, takes a bonus turn, he's getting an additional 3 on that bonus turn, plus another 2 for taking a turn, plus an additional 1 for being damaged. So we're looking at about 9 stacks if we're able to get him attacking before he is attacked. Which means for us to do do that, he would need to be pretty fast, and when we look at his stats, SM-33 is kind of actually middling when it comes to speed, at least with the base stats. It's not bad, he's still fast, but he's not special when it comes to speed. So we might be looking for other characters within the pirate faction to hopefully speed him up so he can attack early. Otherwise, if you attack him early, you can prevent him from getting that reset on the cooldown and boosting up his stacks of heat faster. For the Territory War Ami portion, at the encounter start, if the leader is Scoundrel, they gain 10% max health and offense and 10 speed, doubled if they're also a pirate. So our Ami is boosting the leader, getting them to their mechanics earlier and making them a larger threat, but we need to know who the leader is going to be. First active enemy that damaged the pirate leader deals 30% less damage and has minus 500% potency to all allies aside from SM-33, and SM-33 and the allied pirate leader can ignore taunt effects to target them. This now cements my feeling that taunt will otherwise be a mechanic to slow down pirates in Grand Arena. The fact that the Territory War Army circumvents it means the squad is vulnerable to it and needs a way to manage it. And in Territory Wars, we can target the first attacker on the leader and do so with big damage with both the pirate leader and with SM-33. Now the final portion, whenever the pirate leader attacks, SM-33 assists. It's going to be pretty nice. We got to remember how powerful the basic is with either that stagger or that turn meter removal if we're targeting that enemy that damaged the pirate leader. With a quick review of the gear, this is another easy one. Up to gear 11, you only need 2 sets of Cairo, one at gear 8, one at gear 9, so no choke point. Then you get up to gear 11, where you only need 1 more Cairo set to get to gear 12. Gear 12, though, slightly above average. We do have 2 sets of fusion furnaces and 2 sets of med packs that we're going to need, which is not terrible, but it is slightly above average, plus the Cairo prod finisher. Not too unusual, but these are in-demand pieces, and we have that Nubian scanner as well. With our initial entries into the pirate faction, we don't have too much to work with to really start theory crafting, but I do think that at least Hondo and Nest are candidates to find a home with a future squad. Nest would be interesting because she can dispel a taunt, which is going to be pretty valuable on this squad and allow SM-33 to target who he needs to target. Sana, I think, is working as intended, as a subpar leader to a squad of misfit toys who will very occasionally get boosted by a Datacron. Hondo, though, he's very plug and play, has a lot of potential, and you could see how he could easily boost any squad that he's paired with, particularly a squad like Pirates, especially if Pirates do turn out to be as vulnerable as SM-33 is. Hondo is a character who gets better as his allies die off. So if SM-33 dies off and the other allies die off, Hondo's getting boosted. And he's been bought the time he needs to become that threat with his captive mechanics. But we will look out for the future. I think there's a promising start here with SM-33. Definitely some fun mechanics that we can build on. We will wrap it up there. I've got Andor to watch, and I need to edit and upload this before I can do that. Up in the corner, though, we have been working on our Conquest series of videos. We have our Conquest feat overview, which is my initial plans on how I'm tackling these feats prior to the start of Conquest. During Conquest, we also do sector by sector videos where I will be testing out those teams, see if we make any changes, see how efficient we're able to be, plus what kind of data disk combos we're building and the reasoning behind the ones that I'm choosing. Also down below, we have the Datacron video. This is looking at that Echoes of Rebellion set. You can remind yourself of what your targets you want while we finish up this Conquest. Thank you for watching. Be excellent to each other, everybody. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.